back on stage. Once you are off stage and one jump is gone, and quote from Leviathan, the illusion of choice. You don't have a correct option. They're all covered unless your teammate gets out there quick enough to help you get back to stage.
Yeah, and that's the scariest part about platform fighters is that there are certain scenarios where if you play your cards correctly, you can checkmate your opponent, right? And no matter what option they go for, as long as you're playing up to snuff, you can cover it. And Leviathan and Synume are titans at doing that. So I'm very, very curious how the opposition is going to be able to try to rein those guys in. Because that Raindog going to be going crazy.
Well, we're going to be seeing TreeWiz and Branzilla coming up here.
Okay.
And one of the things that is amazing about offline events being at the LANs is that everything changes. Because you're going to run into a lot of people who may not have been playing in those online brackets, may have been playing in preparation for that with everybody on those, but then you run into everybody who's ready to get those big upsets throughout the day. A lot of pressure is on the line, too, when you're the high seed for a big event like this for the first time, to make sure that you perform to that seed. And Branzilla and the teammate might be able to come in here and sneak out a dub. Who knows? I'm always excited to see that, of course.
No, I feel like you're bringing up some good points because something that happens often, especially for the first event like this, is that like, okay, for everyone who's in tune with the competitive community, you know, they're watching all these community tournaments that are happening and trying to keep track of who their favorite players are. We have the Multiversus like player showcases that you can watch on YouTube as well. And you're like, okay, this is Leviathan, this is Spooky, this is Nakat, Void, etc., etc. But what it doesn't account for are the people who don't watch any of those things and just grind and play the game, and they show up to an event like this and they just start taking names and everyone's like, who is this guy, right? Like, that's
humble
scary.
checks get cashed.
Yes.
You aren't prepared, and then next thing you know, it's like, hey, we were at the top of everything. We feel like we're on the top of the world this early on. In the beta stages, we got a lot of people proclaiming to be the best of the best amongst many different representatives, but we're so early into the game, we haven't run into all of the all-stars who will start to show up. We do have a lot of strong reps, of course, across the fighting game community who have come together for this Flambeau, but it is comical sometimes, and I do enjoy watching the humble checks get cashed, because that's only going to make those people who are above them temporarily play that much better. It's going to make you get that much more drive to continue to try to be the best and not let something like that happen again.
No, I agree. If you want to put the #1 X player of this character in your Twitter bio, you got to make sure that you also have to put I grinded for this view. You know what I mean? You got to make sure you earned it, because otherwise you're going to get some humble checks coming in real quick. And I know there has to be at least one sleeper in this bracket. At least one. At least one.
And I'm looking forward to seeing who that might be throughout the day. Of course, like we were saying, we are here at EVO 2022 for the very first official Multiversus offline bracket with $100,000 in total prizes on the line, spread all the way down to top 32. And the pressure, I think once people get to that top 32 point, where a lot of like maybe the stress on the line kind of pulls away, because you lead up to that and you're trying to make sure that you solidify yourself in the rankings, show everybody what you could do. But getting out of pools can sometimes be the most stressful part, because you're trying not to get that big upset happen to you, or maybe you weren't completely fresh for the day, you weren't prepared, and everything just becomes nightmare scenarios. Like, oh man, I'm dropping these combos, I'm dropping these team conversions, and it played to your mental. But the next day, when you've gotten that first day out of the way, that's where it starts to play proper. And well, I'm very curious to see how it's going to go here. I am a big fan of the there it is. So shout out to Bugsy. There are a bunch of Tony appreciation T-shirts going around right now.
No
there it
way.
is right there.
Oh, man.
Being worn by Synume over on that side. I won't deny that I definitely have one of those as well, but I am not wearing it on the broadcast.
Wow, that's goated. Yo, wow. That is so great. That is so great. We appreciate you, Tony. That is clean. The print job on that shirt is pretty good too, eh?
Yeah, and
Good job with it.
they got it quickly as well. Again, shout out to Bugsby for putting that together, and also one of the actually, I believe the leader of the MVS Pro Code community. Make sure you go ahead and check out all the resources that you have, and then the future characters coming to this game, of course, going to be changing up potentially in the meta. Rick and Morty with the hoodie on the other side of Leviathan there, but TreeWiz and Branzilla both on the same team. I'm curious to see what that team is. I can't see the front of the shirt, but they're coming out here. That's what I'm saying. You gotta pay attention. You see those jerseys show up. It's like, Wait a minute, who's this?
I think it might be the Spartans if I read that correctly. He just did a little bit of a show the the jersey to the crowd.
Okay, so if it's the Spartans, which character has like a heavy kick, like a boot? Oh, it has to be Bugs. Like
Yeah,
he has
that's
this,
the drop
the,
kick,
yeah, the
right?
chop kick.
Yeah.
He has the neutral charge up kick because you know he's gonna be kicking people
And
off the
also,
stage.
like Batman on that Sayer kind of be.
That is true. The truth double up on it. All right, here we go. The second game of the day, and we were talking about the switch-up potential of it. Here comes the Shaggy from Leviathan's Synume running, of course, that Batman. He started things off on Trophy's Edge.
Okay, and there we go, man. Shaggy, you got to look out for this guy because it's going to be quite a time if you allow him to go into the corner and start building up that rage. Everyone loves to talk about it. Ultra Instinct Shaggy.
One of the things for TreeWiz and Branzilla as well is dealing with things like that rage mode on Shaggy and the pressure from Batman is you have so much coverage. Tom and Jerry is a very solid matchup against Batman, and look at the way they're using that tether between Steven Universe and Tom and Jerry to get across the whole stage, get stage control, and prevent this double rushdown from happening.
Yeah, there we go. It's going to be a stock lost on a Superman right there. Well, I'm really looking for potentially like a sandwich pull, right? Nice little conversion coming out from Shaggy, right? You got the down air into the neutral air conversion. Tried to follow up with the knee, couldn't find it. But man, it's electrifying so far.
Using that bubble from Steven as well to get out of disadvantage was away from Synume, chasing you in the skies. That smoke bomb is great for stopping the projectile control that they're trying to do so they can hide in that and find a way to get in. But right now, missing on the uppercut again. And look at the way Steven is constantly covering Batman. It's been really difficult to get in.
Okay, and you see the jab coming out from Shaggy one again, and that like true converts into so many things for Shaggy, and just goes right into the corner and starts charging up that rage. You really can't allow Shaggy to do that, especially if he has a sandwich in hand, because that means he's gonna be able to just throw that out and still have a rage move afterwards.
Goodness!
But it doesn't matter.
The TreeWiz and Branzilla, we're talking about put some respect on names, but they're having it right now. They're currently up 3 stocks. It was 3 lives to 1, and here goes one finally on the side of the blue team. There goes the uppercut that's up special from Shaggy in the skies to finally get them on the board.
Oh man, this one's actually going to be closer. I didn't expect it to be so close, I'm going to be honest with you, because we knew so much about Leviathan and Synume, but it looks like TreeWiz and Zilla are here to let y'all know.
And really good job from Tom over on the side of the stage here to use Jerry to get back in. I'll pass that side special from Shaggy. Right now, a lot. Not going to be forced to bubble. This is going to be an easy double up if they want onto Batman, but Synume actually staying right next to the bubble where Leviathan was to make sure he could hover back and use Batarang to get them away.
I love that actually from Synume, because if you're a really good seasoned Steven player, you know the exact timing for when that bubble's gonna pop, and you wanna make sure you're there to go ahead and try to secure a knockout.
Oh no, and they're gonna get caught between the double up on the tether from Steven, and that's gonna be TreeWiz and Branzilla getting the very first game with some proper head nods in that. We were talking about who could potentially be the big upset plays. Who are the ones who could possibly throw off the entire bracket. #1 seed on Synume and Leviathan. Already game 1 going in favor of TreeWiz and Branzilla.
I'm like, is it a moment where you let the dogs out? Is it the time?
I think it might be that time.
I think it might be that time. I mean, I'm looking. I think it is that time. And it's funny because we were literally just talking about like, man, who are some of the like, who's gonna be a sleeper? There got to be at least one. And I'm like, all right, well, I was asleep. And look what happened. I've been woken up
of the day.
Immediately, right? There's my coffee in the morning.
Now, one thing that was happening there as the match went on is even though they were down 3 lives to 1, you saw how the double ups off stage were starting to work for Batman and Shaggy from Synume and Leviathan to try and get those edge guards. But the thing is, Tom was always blocking his way back in. He always had the Jerry in the way. He always had the pressure of the shield coming in from Steven to allow him to get back safely. And I think that's a big reason why we're seeing this Raindog come out, because now you're going to have the projectile war going on both sides, and we're going to run it right back to Trophy's Edge, instantly breaking the crystal to make sure that the electrifying stun does not allow them to have stage control.
Oh man, and this is going to be, I mean, this is make it or break it for Levi and Synume, right? Like, this is best of 3 up until top 8. We're not at top 8 yet, so if you want to make sure that you're going to go ahead and stay alive in this bracket, you want to do that now. Yeah, you do not want to be dropping this early. And look at Synume trying to go ahead and cover that bat bomb, but realizing that the Raindog is getting covered quite a bit by Tom. And here comes an offstage position they have, and because Tom and Jerry doesn't have the best
opportunity to go for a 2v1 on the other player. They weren't trying to go and just get some chip damage onto that bubble because they're not going to get knocked out on that. They're going to take that damage. You have stage control. You have dominance now in that situation. But the fact that Synume was able to maneuver around that with that mobility on Batman, and even when he was in the bubble, using the jump cancels off of the up special from Raindog to just sneak his way in. Sometimes you're not prepared for that because you assume Raindog is just going to throw stuff at you from the other side of the stage.
And I think one of the other things, too, that's great is that, like, Batman is kind of like two characters. There's Batman and then there's Batarang, right? So it's like, if we're going for the 2v1, it's kind of like a 2v2 because you're going to throw that Batarang, he's going to start running. So it's going to be hard to pin him down. And Synume, honestly, wasn't even using the Batarang that much. He was just kind of going in, show you can just throwing up those up specials, and it was going great. But we're going to go ahead and start right into Game 3 as the action continues.
And we're going to go to Sky Arena platforms, giving them a few more ranges to not only find some landing spots, but it's going to be a little bit easier for TreeWiz and Branzilla to catch them slipping on a platform with that tether. That's been a lot of knockouts for what they've been doing. As you see that he put one on the top platform to just go in and try and get some control. It didn't get anything, but I like the idea here on this counter pick.
Yeah, and the other thing is, too, is that the platform height is perfect, that a grounded Batman can just throw out that up special. We've seen Synume doing it a lot already. Say, if you're going to be up here, I'm going to throw it out. And you don't want to get caught there because you start getting carried toward the top of the screen and potentially toward the KO zone.
Yeah, and I do really like how amazing the red team's coverage has been on a lot of these dodges. But going to get the roll in, just missing on the uppercut. This guy's downer comes through from Batman, and here we go. Going to get away, and Steven is going to get caught in the midst of it while Tom was trying to get away from that situation.
Yeah, one of the things that will not help you too much in this game is if you get hit by a move that hits you off the ground like a spike and you bounce up, it's one of the toughest things to try to DI your way from.
And speaking of good DI mix-ups, you saw how the charged uppercut was coming in, and then Leviathan also came in with the side special. That could have DI mixed you up really badly, gone straight to the left because you're trying to DI away from that uppercut to survive off the top. And I like the idea. It didn't lead to the knockout, but currently 140. A straight hit will find one, but they find it on Batman.
Okay, and just like that, another up special coming out from Leviathan there. But here we go. It looks like they're going to go ahead and continue pushing on. A lot of aggression coming out. The shield from Steven is going to go ahead and occupy that center top platform. And you see Synume has to fall past it because he can't land on it, controlling a lot of space. But despite that, the tether finally breaks from Leviathan. We're looking for one more strong hit here onto Steven at 124 damage. You can see Synume actually not going to opt to go for Steven there. He's going to go for the other player.
That was smart, too, because Raindog was currently stuck. Leviathan had to deal with a dodge read from that down air because of Synume's pressure. He was able to take that away. 139 attached to Leviathan, though. He can't get knocked out quickly, but he's using that mobility. Look at the mobility, but he gets caught by the nair. That was a really good call, and that's going to put them back only down 3 lives to 2.
Yeah, but I got to say, the blue team is looking pretty healthy right now, but as I say that, a couple of hits on assigning, more up specials coming out. Steven trying to break the zone with that neutral aerial attack, but even with that said, it's getting close to call here, but the blue team, I think, has a pretty hefty lead here. They just need to rack up.
Oh, what a great call! That downer coming through after they already caught the jump and the dodge away from Batman, so that took away a lot of resources. And now, last life here, game number 3. This determines who gets to continue this bracket in seed 1 position. And there's the uppercut. It's not going to take him out.
The ceiling is just high enough that Synume is throwing out the... Oh, my God. They are going absolutely buck wild right now.
And they're trying to get him off the side of the stage here. Here comes the double up. Here comes the opportunity. Sider comes through. He used a lot of defensive resources to get back on Tom off stage. Here comes the Batarang, and they're going to get the game. And they continue their position at top seed, but they had to work very hard for that one. We talked about people early on finding a way to get respect. Well, TreeWiz and Branzilla made that effort, almost putting seed 1 out in only winners round 2.
Oh man, like a good neighbor, Batarang is there, bro. That was absolutely, because I was wondering, they were fishing for a while at the end of that game. They had a lot of damage racked up. We kept seeing these up specials from Synume not quite being enough juice because probably, you know, used a little bit of decay on that one. But on top of that, the ceiling of that map can be a little bit higher than Batman would like. But despite that, was finally able to secure with a clutch Batarang.